Morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me as we take a look at your weekend forecast for December 20th through the 22nd as we head towards Christmas week. Things are looking wintry this weekend, which is kind of nice. We're going to have a little bit of light snow, mostly today and overnight tonight. Nothing too dramatic, although it might be enough to cause a little bit of slipperiness on the roads this afternoon, this evening, just enough to be have to keep an eye on, but not a lot of accumulation. 1 to 3 inches, basically. I didn't even do a map because it's basically a general 1 to 3 for everybody. But we're going to talk about it's going to get cold after that. We're going to talk about details of that and touch real quick on potentially a little bit of more light snow on Tuesday, on Christmas Eve day. Right now, how much actually falls that then is debatable in terms of whether it's almost nothing or a couple of inches, basically. We're not looking at anything real big there, but yeah, let's take a look at what's going on. Here is our system. We have kind of a big piece of kind of upper level energy here, and just now starting to get a little bit of surface reflection. The surface low here is going to go well out to sea, but we're going to be left here with the kind of mid and upper level energy, which has a little bit of moisture associated with it, enough lift in the atmosphere that's going to give us our light snow today. It'll be kind of fluffy snow as we have definitely trended colder behind this system as the whole thing wraps up and eventually does become an organized system, but not until it's well north and east of us. Then we will drag in some colder air. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So it'll feel like real cold, particularly Sunday is quite cold. Saturday night, Sunday night, real cold. But yeah, in terms of radar, sorry, this isn't in motion. Our radar site's having some issues this morning with putting things in motion. But generally, you can see some of this we're not going to quite get this morning. Some of this is, except for maybe some flurries, a lot of this is not quite reaching the ground now. But this looks maybe a little more impressive than it is. A lot of this is quite light. You can see here's just a little bit of more heavier precipitation associated with this surface low. We're never going to get into like the band of precipitation that happens with the surface low. Eastern New England is going to experience some of that, but here across Western New England, not so much. Across Southern Vermont, not so much. We're basically in this lighter snow, but again, with it being kind of fluffy, we will definitely see a little bit of accumulation. 1 to 3 inches, like I was saying, is basically what we're looking at in terms of accumulation. Let's take a look at temperatures. Because behind, as the system wraps up, it's going to tap some air from the north and the northwest. And as you can see, we've got some 20s, even some 30s below zero. We are obviously not going to be 20 to 30 degrees below zero, but we could see some belows. I think most of us will be below zero on Monday morning. We're kind of the first time we've been widespread. We have had a few below zero temperatures already this year, but that'll be like the first time most of us are below zero. And some of the valley spots could get maybe even 10 degrees below zero as possible that morning. And wind chills will be chilly, certainly Sunday night or Saturday night and Sunday night. And then we start to rebound a little bit as we head towards Christmas Day and the middle of next week. Let's take a quick look at this. Here's the progression of one of the models, what it thinks is going to happen precipitation-wise. As you can see, this is a real light blue, and we're kind of into things. This is later on this afternoon. And again, I think probably this is maybe underdone a little bit, but you see the main thrust of the moisture is going to move well east of us. I do think a lot of times when it's not even showing up here, we will be getting a little bit of light snow. It's going to look kind of snow globe-like out there. It'll look pretty. This is going to be kind of nice. But again, not a lot of accumulation. A little bit of accumulation, but not a lot of accumulation with what happens here. Let's take a look at that upper level pattern just to kind of show you. Here's the storm. Here's like the surface. All this kind of has to come together. This is why it's not real organized yet. The timing basically wasn't right. All the pieces are there for a big storm. Cold air, high pressure to the north, and lots of upper level energy and a piece of surface energy. All of it's there, but it's happening too far north and east to really be a big deal for us. So we just kind of get the weaker system here. And then here is the pieces of energy that are going to come across the country associated with our next Christmas Eve storm, which is going to be a weak storm as well, kind of a clipper system. And how much moisture will be associated with that is definitely up for debate as well. That does look like snow at the moment, though. So, we'll have a chance to freshen up with a little bit of a fresh coat of snow during Christmas Eve day, probably. As we head forward, then it does look like we probably are going to warm up for the second half of next week, although that's not entirely locked in. How warm and things like that is not locked in yet. So we'll have to wait and see a little bit on that. Let's take a quick look at what that actually means forecast-wise. Today, light snow, mostly in the afternoon. It gets to kind of steady light snow, I would say, by anytime after 2-3 o'clock. That's where you could be a little slick on the roads. I don't think it's going to be terrible, but a little slick. If you're out driving around this evening, you should definitely be a little careful. It could be slippery briefly. Temperatures, as you can see, fall down into the teens. Tomorrow, 20. Basically, we start the day at 20 and we never get any higher. By the afternoon, it's quite chilly. We're going to get breezy. There could still be a few flurries left around, especially Friday, Saturday morning. Shouldn't be accumulating anymore. Saturday night is going to be, wind chill wise, probably the worst night, actually, because even though we're not quite as cold because of the breeze, we get down to about 2 degrees for kind of on average. Some people will go below zero probably even Saturday night, and wind chills will be 20 below zero pretty easily on Saturday night with a little bit of breeze. So it's going to be cold Saturday night. If you're headed out, just be ready for that. Sunday is chilly, a little bit breezy, not terrible, but a little breezy on Sunday. Cold, high of about 13. That's pretty cold out there. In some places, if you're out skiing, it's going to be in the single numbers. Certainly at the peaks, we're going to be 0 to 5 degrees above probably for a high. So yeah, just be bundled up. You can ski in those temperatures. It's doable, but you want to be bundled up. So make sure that you got your cold weather gear on. Sunday night, like I said, -3. The breeze will go away. So that's basically the wind chill will be about what the temperature is, but about -3. Some of the colder spots in the valleys could get down to -10 on Sunday night into Monday. So quite cold. Although we are in a time of year where this is definitely basically from about now till about the end of January is when we get our coldest temperatures on average, although certainly they can extend kind of on either side of that, particularly into February, that can happen. So let's take a quick look at the weekend highlights. It will feel like winter. An unorganized coastal system, or one that's getting organized, and its upper level low will bring some light snow to our area. Accumulations appear to be on the order of about 1 to 3 inches. Basically, that's pretty universal. If you're in an upslope snow area, so basically the western slopes of the greens, that's where you have your best chance of 3. If you're down in a valley somewhere, that's your best chance of 1, but basically 1 to 3 inches looks like the average on this. Saturday night into Sunday, we turn cold with wind chills well below zero. A weak system could bring light snow to the area on Christmas Eve day. Again, that looks like a similar kind of accumulation to this system, but we'll have to wait a little bit to see if that changes one way or the other. That's what's going on. So that's what's going on with your forecast for the weekend. I will be back on Monday morning with a look at Christmas week for your forecast. And then I don't know exactly what my schedule is going to be next week in terms of forecasting. So somewhat depends on the weather, somewhat depends on my schedule, obviously with lots of stuff going on with Christmas. But that's why it's good to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because it helps make sure you don't miss any of my videos. And then also, if you want to make sure you get all of my videos sent to you by email, or if you want to get my weekend forecast, or if you want to get an extended forecast from me, those are all some of the kind of things that I do for my patrons. And so there's a link in the description below that takes you to my Patreon page, which talks about that. So if you're interested in becoming a patron, you can do that. And I appreciate my patrons. They help support what I do here at the West River Weather Guy. Make sure that it pays for the subscriptions that I have and things like that. And yeah, so I appreciate all their help. So thank you to my patrons. I'll be back on Monday with a look at your work. Well, it won't really be at your Christmas week forecast, I should say.